Have you ever tried to describe something? Maybe you wanted to tell a friend about a cool movie or a delicious meal. Adjectives are your secret weapons. They are words that add detail to our sentences. They tell us more about nouns. Think of nouns as the stars of the sentence. Adjectives are like the constellations around them, making them shine even brighter. For example, instead of just saying dog, we can say fluffy dog or friendly dog. See how much more interesting that is?
Adjectives bring our language to life. They paint pictures in our minds. So, the next time you want to make your writing more vivid and engaging, remember the power of adjectives.
Just like there are many colors in a rainbow, there are many types of adjectives. Let's explore a few. Descriptive adjectives. These are the most common. They tell us about the qualities of a noun. For example, blue sky, sweet apple, tall building. Quantitative adjectives. These specify how much or how many of something there is. For example, 2 cats, some milk, little time. Possessive adjectives. These show ownership or belonging. For example, my book, her car, their house. Demonstrative adjectives. These point out specific nouns. For example, this book, that car, those houses.
Each type of adjective adds a different layer of meaning to our sentences. By using a variety of adjectives, we can make our writing more precise and interesting.
Sometimes, words that usually act as verbs can also be adjectives. These are called participles. They end in ing or ed and describe nouns by telling us about an action. For example, in the phrase the sleeping cat, the word sleeping is a participle acting as an adjective. It tells us about the state of the cat. Similarly, in the broken vase, the word broken describes the vase's condition.
Participles are like chameleons of language. They can blend in as both verbs and adjectives, adding dynamism and action to our descriptions.
In many languages, including English, adjectives need to agree with the nouns they modify. This means that the adjective might change its form depending on the noun's gender or number. For example, in French, we say le chat noir, the black cat, but la maison noire, the black house. The adjective noir changes to noir to agree with the feminine noun maison. While English doesn't have as many grammatical genders, we still need to be mindful of agreement. For example, we say tall boy but tall girl, and tall boys but tall girls. The adjective tall doesn't change, but we use different forms of the noun to show agreement.
Agreement might seem like a small detail, but it's an important part of using adjectives correctly. Section 5. Where adjectives reside, attributive versus predicative. Adjectives can be positioned in different places within a sentence. The two main positions are attributive and predicative.
Attributive adjectives come before the noun they modify. They are like faithful companions, always staying close to the noun they describe. For example, the red car, a delicious meal, a beautiful sunset.
Predicative adjectives come after the verb and describe the subject of the sentence. They are like secret admirers, expressing their admiration from a distance. For example, the car is red, the meal was delicious, the sunset looks beautiful.
The position of an adjective can subtly change the emphasis and rhythm of a sentence. By understanding both attributive and predicative positions, we can become more versatile writers.
Section 6. Attributive or predicative. Examples to the rescue. Let's look at some examples to clarify the difference between attributive and predicative adjectives.
Attributive. The old man walked slowly.
Predicative. The man is old.
Attributive. She bought a beautiful dress.
Predicative. The dress is beautiful.
Attributive. He has a loud voice.
Predicative. His voice is loud. As you can see, the same adjective can be used in both positions, but the emphasis and meaning can shift slightly. Section 7. Linking verbs, building bridges with adjectives. Predicative adjectives often follow linking verbs.
Linking verbs are like bridges that connect the subject of a sentence to its description. They don't show action. Instead, they describe a state of being.
Some common linking verbs include
Be, is, am, are, was, were, become, becomes. Seems, appears, feels. Looks, smells, tastes, sounds.
For example, in the sentence, the flowers smell sweet, the verb smell links the subject flowers to the adjective sweet. Section 8. Tricky adjectives, changing meaning with location. Some adjectives can be tricky because their meaning changes depending on whether they are used attributively or predicatively.
For example, late. Attributive. The late Mr. Smith was a kind man, meaning deceased. Predicative, Mr. Smith is late for the meeting, meaning not on time.
Another example is present.
Attributive. The present situation is challenging, meaning current. Predicative. All the students were present, meaning in attendance.
These tricky adjectives remind us that even small words can have big differences in meaning depending on their context.
But how do we know when to use a comma before and? When we use multiple adjectives to describe a noun, we often use the word and to connect them.
Section 9. And in adjective lists, the power of connection.
Here's a simple rule. Use a comma before and in a list of adjectives if you can replace and with the word but, and the sentence still makes sense.
For example, she wore a long, flowing, elegant dress.
We could say long but flowing but elegant, so we use commas.
Another example, he ordered a large pepperoni pizza.
We wouldn't say large but pepperoni, so we don't use a comma.
This comma rule helps us create clear and natural-sounding lists of adjectives. Section 10. Mastering adjectives, key takeaways. Congratulations! You've now journeyed through the world of adjectives. Let's recap the key points. Adjectives describe nouns, adding detail and color to our language. There are many types of adjectives, each serving a unique purpose. Participles can act as adjectives, adding action to our descriptions. Adjectives often need to agree with the nouns they modify. Adjectives can be attributive, before the noun, or predicative, after the verb. Linking verbs connect subjects to predicative adjectives. Some adjectives change their meaning depending on their position. Use commas in lists of adjectives if you can replace and with but. By mastering adjectives, you can transform your writing from ordinary to extraordinary. So go forth and adjectivize your world.